Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I am taking a look at the Nintendo Switch Lite in 2023. I have finally purchased my own Switch, and if you've seen my previous videos you know that I was going for a Switch Lite. We've got a Switch as a home console, a family console, but I wanted my own, and as a fan of portable consoles the Switch Lite was perfect for me. So the original Switch was released in 2017, the Switch Lite was released in 2019, and then you've got the OLED that was released in 2021. So I've been toying with getting myself my own Switch for about 18 months. Now I've got one. So this is mine, this is my Switch Lite. Lovely yellow colour, available in 5 different colours I think. So you've got yellow, coral, grey, turquoise, and it's like a dark blue, but I quite like the yellow, and that's the colour I picked up. Many people tried to put me off buying a Switch Lite because it does have some limitations versus like the regular Switch. So obviously this is an all-in-one console, so the Joy-Cons are fixed to the console. A pro in the fact that it gives it super solid build quality, but if anything does go wrong with your Joy-Cons or these little thumbsticks, then it is a bit more difficult. Obviously if you've got a regular Switch and I don't know, your stick goes on your left Joy-Con, you take it off, buy a new one, put it on, job done. You can't do that on this because they are all fixed to the system. Like I said, that is kind of a little bit of a bonus because it gives it that solid feel. You don't get no Joy-Con wiggle with a Switch Lite, obviously. A few other things are the battery is probably on par with the original Switch, which they then improved with the V2 and the OLED, but it pushes about 6.5 hours I think out of a Switch Lite, which is more than enough for sort of casual gamers like myself. You don't get no vibrate features on a Switch Lite, not with these Joy-Cons or controls anyway. So some of the games that require the rumble feature, you'd have to pair a second set of Joy-Cons too, but that's only the handful of games. So probably the most obvious, biggest difference from the Switch to the Switch Lite is the screen size. This has a 5.5 inch screen, whereas the original Switch has 6.2 I think, and the OLED has a 7-inch screen. Doesn't really bother me. The size of the screen is, well, I'm going to call it huge, but then I am used to portable games consoles. My DSi XL has a 4.18 inch screen, my PS Vita has a 5-inch screen, so going up to a 5.5 inch super high quality screen it's an upgrade for me. I have no intention of putting this on a TV, so that screen is big enough for me. And that is one thing I forgot to mention a minute ago. It's a Switch Lite, it's a fully portable console, so there is no option to dock it. If you were to put it on a dock, it would do nothing, perhaps just charge, that's about all, because there is no TV, HDMI connector-y type thing but there's no circuit board for putting it on a TV. So the Switch Lite is a truly portable only console. But spec wise, a Switch Lite has got the same specs as an original Switch. Same CPU, same GPU, same RAM, same amount of internal storage, which is 32 gig, only upped in, I think, the OLED version, which took that up to 64. So in terms of actual Switch and Switch games, this will do 99% of what your home Switch could do, with the exception of a few games that require you to pair additional Joy-Cons so you can play these extra few games, but there aren't really that many. This is an awesome console. As a fan of portable consoles like the DS's and the 3DS's and the PSP and the Vita, the Switch Lite for me was just like a natural progression. It's the next step up from going like from the DS and 3DS range. It's so many people try to say don't buy a Switch Lite. It's not what you're going to want. You're going to want to put it on a TV. You're going to want the bigger screen size. You're going to want the detachable Joy-Cons. No, this I've been playing this quite a bit. It's the first time I've actually held a Switch Lite in my hand. and it is just an amazing console. Super comfortable, absolutely perfect weight. Weight distribution is superb. The button layout, well, it's similar to a Switch. It's similar to Joy-Cons, with the exception of you do have a proper D-pad. Didn't get that on the Joy-Cons. You got the buttons that sort of went round in a D-pad shape, but the Switch Lite actually has a proper D-pad. The buttons on the top, everything about it, it's just super comfortable for hands and for playing, and the fingers wrap around where they should do. It's just superb. Two things that really I do like about the Switch Lite, and they're really minor things. On the OLED Switch, opening the game card flap is really difficult. Not so difficult on like original Switch, but there doesn't seem to be that little sort of gap. Now I like that, and I like the fact that the port is covered, and that is also the same for the micro SD slot. Now this is a portable console, so I don't suppose you really want your micro SD slot showing. And on here you have another flap that covers up the micro SD in there, of which I've slapped 128 gig in. On the original Switch and the OLED, the card is kind of exposed. Now I like that. I like the fact that the whole console, other than the charge port, is concealed, covered up. It just makes it feel like it's more of a true portable console. So there isn't really too much I can say about it. It's the Switch is a 7-year-old console. The Switch Lite is only about 4 years old, and if you're looking for a truly portable console, if hooking it up to your TV doesn't matter, and then the Switch Lite is absolutely fantastic. It is more compact than a Switch. I've always found the Switch to be a little bit on the bulky side when you're playing it in handheld mode. I think Nintendo, they went with a home console that you could play on the go, but it sort of erred towards the home side, whereas a Switch Lite, it's thin, it's, like I say, it's perfectly weighted, it's not too big, but it takes, it's a fair size of a console. You've got a 5.5-inch screen in there, it's going to be a nice size. If we just, because I've just realised I've shot this whole video without showing you what it's like, so as you can see, it's a nice console. The screen size is a decent size. I will at some point do a comparison to my Switch, my family Switch, and my son's OLED Switch, so that you can get a comparison of overall size of the console and the screens. But for me, it was a perfect choice. I'm so glad I didn't listen to all the people that tried to put me off buying a Switch Lite. And the one thing about this console is, well, for the first time in a very long time, I am a modern gamer. I have a current gen console. Not for very long, I assume, with the imminent release of the Switch 2 or whatever they're going to call it. But it's rumoured that they will make the Switch 2 backward compatible, or at least keep games running for quite some time. So I've got a good few years of being able to go out in a shop and buy the latest game, something I haven't been able to do for quite some time. But the only drawback of owning a new system is, well, I've got to start my game collection again. Not so much of an issue. Like I said, we've got a couple of Switches in the house, so there's games floating around. My only purchase is FIFA, which I'd purchase for every system, but there are other games in the house which I could go and borrow. Or you've also got the eShop, where there's quite a few demos, free games, free-to-play games. But I am going to have to start building my game collection up again. So that is a quick roundup of the Switch Lite in 2023. Do I think it's worth it? It's fantastic. It's a current gen console. If you're looking for a portable and you don't want first of all, the expense and the bulkiness and the weight and all the faffing around with Joy-Cons and docks, etc., then a Switch Lite will give you the Switch experience in a smaller package. I am extremely happy with it. It is just Well, it's a gorgeous console. Like I said, I've never held one in my hands before, seen them on videos, saw a couple in a sort of shop windows, but never really got the whole pick it up and hold it experience. Playing it is fantastic. Like I say, the button positions are superb. Do I worry about Joy-Con drift on a Switch Lite? Not particularly. It's something that could happen. It doesn't happen to everyone. It's not a game over if it does. It's a bigger repair job if it happens, but it's not beyond possibilities, and if it comes to it, I'll have to do it. But there you go. Switch Lite 2023, absolutely fantastic console. I'm so glad I went for the Lite. I'm so glad that I'm now a modern gamer, at least for at least the next 18 months, I would say. Like, subscribe, enjoy.